All right, I'll move it quick. Okay, here we go. Now, as I said, right, we have the in-text citation here. Of course, we have the reference list, okay, under APA. Now, basically, the idea is very simple. You can see those reference lists, I paste it onto the screen. So of course, depends on whether this is a book, this is a journal, and this is a newspaper, whatever. But that's a different expectation or requirement, I mean, from different journals. But just make it simple. Basically, we just list everything, but in terms in the alphabetical order of the surname. All right. Because I know maybe some publication maybe ask the writer, I mean, to separate, for example, oh, those are books and those are, journal article, those are newspaper, but not really. Sometimes we make the list because the list already indicated whether this is a book or whether this is a magazine or whether this is a journal, okay? So in other words, you can see here, basically this is a list, all right, of what? Books, journal, newspaper, article, etc. Okay, but remember that this is not to show whether you have read, okay? Without citation, no, don't put it here, right? It is also usually arranged in the alphabetical order. Alphabetical order means what? Like depends on the A, B, C, D, E. All right, so you can see here on the the box, I pasted here is a start with the A, start of the A, and then if both are A, and then you will see the next letter, right? So AC, of course, is a C is in front of the L. All right, so you just see the next alphabetical alphabetic letter, right? Okay, now then you can see this is put at the end of your writing. Okay, so we call references. Now look at this kind of a box here in white here. Now you can see how can I know this is a book? How can I know this is a magazine or this is like a journal? Now basically we have the format, as I said, right? International. So APA and then or MLA, etc. Now later on I will tell you, but for example, I just simply say you look at the number 2. All right, you can see here the second one. Sorry, the second row. Alport. This is a surname, comma. All right, G. This is an initial, dot. All right, and W dot. Just like the case, for example, you can imagine. For example, this is Gilbert Wilson. All right, because someone have a more than one. All right, so Alport is the surname, and G, for example, like a Gilbert, and W that would be Wilson, for example. All right, so make sure you know what is the author's surname. So you put it first. Don't mix up. All right, if you don't know, you have to check it. Right? Then, of course, the bracket is a number, the year of the publication. All right, that means when 1961. Now, can you see that this is a pattern and growth in the personality? All right, now this is in the italic. Now, italic is not like the writer's personal style. It's actually follow the APA. All right, because if you follow the MLA or other Harvard, Chicago, they don't need that. They have another way to present, even the year, where to put the year of the publication. So follow the APA. So pattern and growth in the personality. This is italic, all right? And that means tell people, hey, this is the name of the book, all right? Now, New York, all right, colon. Now, New York here is the place of the publication. Whole, comma, and then Reinhardt and Winston. This is the whole thing is as the publication, sorry, it's the publisher name. Publisher name. Of course, maybe you are not familiar with that, but you can simply say, for example, we have called Cambridge University Press. All right. Now, why do we have the New York here? Because this kind of a publisher, maybe like a spread, may spread, over the world. For example, in New York, in London, in, for example, Hong Kong. So that's why you also have to say New York, all right, and colon, and then this is a publisher. But maybe you find a book with this information, maybe say London, and then Hull and Reinhardt and Winston. So just the case like a Cambridge University Press. So maybe you find it, oh, this is a London colon and then Cambridge University Press. Or maybe you find, hey, this is a New York, maybe, Anyway, so you can see this is clearly, this is the name of the book. The italic part actually is the name of the book. Now, but what if, can you see here, I just move on to the fourth, all right? I hope you can see it, like the fourth row is the Barlin, right? Barlin. Now, Barlin is also the name of the surname of the author, comma, and M. M, I don't know, could be like a Michael, whatever, right? This is even with after that would be a period, full stop. 1960 in the bracket here. Now, primary narcissism and the primary love. Now, guys, can you see, basically, this is not in italic. Then you say, why? Now, then you look at that. Next is actually it's called psychoanalytic quarterly. So this is in italic. And then we saw the 29 in italic, comma, and then 6 hyphen 43. Now, then you will see what is it. Now, the italic part actually is the name of what? Of a book or of a journal. All right. Now, I think you guys may because at university level, maybe you not simply read a book, you can search for some research article, right? This is a journal. Now, this is a journal name. It's called Psychoanalytic Quarterly. So this is the name of the journal. All right. Now, then of course that journal here definitely has a more than one article. All right. Sometimes could have a 4, 5, 6, 10, 20. Okay, now, but so happen you find it inside this journal, and then you find this article named called Primary Narcissism and the Primary Love, which looks very appealing to you. So that's why you cite. So that's why you can see the primary something here. This is the name of the journal article. All right. However, the name of the journal is called Psychoanalytic Quarterly. Now, how about what is the 6 and to 43? This is a page number. All right, so you don't need to put a PP or whatever. So this is also the format of the APA. All right, so this is a page 6 to page 43. Actually, this article I think is quite long. All right, because from the page 6 to page 43. Now, what is a 29? 29, someone is like a quote volume or issue sometimes in a way. But that means what? You can imagine, for example, this quarterly. All right, quarterly actually is the general name, right? It simply say is a every year has 4 quarters. So in other words, I mean, every year they have every 3 months, all right? I mean, as the general name suggests, every 3 months actually is with one issue, all right? And one issue here could have a more than 10 or more than 5 journal articles. So 29 here could be, they are culminating. So that means what? For example, here, you can imagine this is a new magazine. So that's why it will be the issue 1. But when the first issue and second issue, third issue, fourth issue will be finish the first year, all right? However, the next year, that will be the 5th issue, all right? And then add them up on. So 6 issue, 7 issue, 8 issue. So that means, 8 issue and then 9th issue. 9th issue will be the 3rd year. So that's why 29 sometimes is like a volume issue, just like let you know. Actually, so you go and find a 29th issue or volume. I will make it more clear to you later. Then you turn to page 6 to 43 from this journal article, and then you will find exactly this article, all right, written by the Ballant in the 1960. Can you follow? Okay. However, the book, just the name of the book in italic. But for the journal article, that would be the journal itself is in italic. Okay, so that is the idea. All right. Now, of course, you have to make it very consistent. Now, this is a university training here. If you say, of course, you're interested in more with detail, so I will explain it to you with more detail and more professional. For example, here, something you think is a very trivial. For example, like capital letter. Now, you look at that. We look at the, for example, the second one, all right? Pattern and growth in the personality. Now, of course, the first pattern is in the capital letter. Then the other words actually is not. But you look at the third one. The third one is also a book. All right. That means the second word is a small case. All right, not capital letter. But you look at the 3. The name of the journal is a Psychoanalytic Quarterly. The journal name actually is both in the capital letter P and capital letter Q. In other words, if you follow this kind of a pattern, you have to be consistent. You understand what I mean? Basically, you have to make it consistent, right? Don't make it like, for example, a capital letter, every in the capital letter for this entry. However, another entry, and then you use a different style, all right? So not random. We have to follow the style consistently. All right. Okay, simply put. All right, so bear with me. So basically, I'm now use this example here to say, okay, This is a kind of the references sample here.